Hey, Trev here from SpineWise. Today I want to talk to you about lateral foot pain. So if you're getting pain down the outside of your foot, all the way up that small toe area, maybe up into the side of your leg, maybe even perhaps numbness or bruising feeling, then this is what I want to talk to you about today. Because what we're really talking about is what we call peroneal nerve entrapment. It's a very, very common issue that creates a lot of problem for a lot of people, but is very significantly underdiagnosed from what I've seen, and has such a simple solution to it as well. So like always guys, if you're loving our videos, please like our page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. All this stuff allows us to get information out, makes it all worthwhile, and allows us to help you more and more in every way that we can. Alright, so let's talk about peroneal nerve entrapment, because not many people are aware of this, but there's a group of muscles that go down outside the leg, so down the outside of the leg through this area here. And basically what they do is they look at trying to keep your foot up and keep your foot turned out. So when your foot hits the ground, they kind of stop your foot from rolling in and you rolling your ankle. A really, really critical group of muscles that don't really have too much other function than that. So they're often a forgotten about set of muscles and often not discussed in any way, shape or form. So when we start talking about pain down that outside of the foot, so if we're talking about this is your big toe here on this side, we're really talking about pain coming down that outside of the foot through here and perhaps even up into the side. Some people will even feel in the lateral knee in this area here. This is a pain pattern that we commonly see with our peroneal nerve entrapments. A very, very common disorder that from my experience at least is very underdiagnosed. So the big thing that really drives this is there's a nerve that comes down from behind the knee itself, wraps around your fibular head here, and then goes down to supply this big muscle. And when that nerve becomes irritated, or when it becomes entrapped or jammed, we tend to lose that muscle that comes down here, which has the effect of holding the foot up and turning the foot as well. So just rotating it out somewhat so that the big toe points downwards. And when we get that action occurring, this is the action that we have when we first hit the ground. So when we lose that action, the foot tends to rotate in slightly. We put too much pressure on the outside of the foot. So we actually land in that tilted phase that way, rather than landing straight, we land like that. We end up bruising that outside of the foot through this area here. We get that irritation through here, and most people commonly talk about pain down the outside of the foot. Some may be down the outside of the ankle as well, but most commonly through that outside of the foot. In addition to that, there's a muscle that comes from that area there that goes down to the top of the foot on that outside, so coming down that way on the foot itself, that helps hold the foot up. And when this becomes irritated, that becomes dysfunction. That can also lead to pain on top of the foot. So on the outside, so this is your left leg, so on the outside of the foot, in that front top area there as well. And we hear common, like all different types of reasons for this, but most likely the most common cause of this stuff is what we call peroneal nerve entrapment. Really, really, really common disorder. So the big problems that we tend to see with this, as we said before, lateral foot pain is a common one. Numbness in that lateral part of the foot can be a problem, not directly because of the nerve irritation, but because of the pressure that gets applied there that creates irritation. Lateral leg pain, and the one we want to add to that as well, is top of the foot pain, which is probably one of the more common reasons we get this in the first place. So how does this come about? So to start with, there's a small muscle that goes behind the knee. So if we come up to the knee itself, there's a little model of our knee here. If we have a look at our knee from behind, there's a small muscle that actually runs across the back of the knee here. And it basically allows the knee to turn. It interacts with your iliotibial band that comes down this side. They kind of work together to look after that screwing, that locking that occurs when you straighten your knees and lock it into place. So when this popliteus goes a little bit haywire, we can get tightening of that ITB. And as we get tightening of that ITB, often the result of that is changes in fibula, which is this bone here, changes in fibular stability. As we get more movement in the fibula, that's when we get irritation to that fibular nerve that comes around like that. So this is a really common thing we see with popliteus muscle dysfunction, with ITB changes, fibular instability through that area there, and also pronation. So as we drop down with the foot kind of drops and rotates in. As we get that drop and rotate in, a small muscle comes up here, attaches to the front, called your tibialis anterior, can start over contracting to try and lift the foot up and stop the pronation. And as that occurs, it can pull the fibular head forward, creating nerve entrapment. We also see this sometimes with people who have calf problems, so Sever's disease, with people who have Achilles tendonitis, these type of things. As we get that pronation as a result of those things, or that can also be causative of those things, rotates and again creates that pronating effect and moves the fibula around. So really what we're looking for when we start talking about fibular nerve entrapment is, popliteal nerve entrapment, really is stabilizing the fibular head. That's the key thing with this. Now from us in the office here, we'll have different techniques that we use to stabilize the fibular head, to get those muscles balanced again and get them working. But if you're at home and you just need some relief, okay, you just need to find out a way to give you some relief right now and to see if this is the cause of it, what you can do is just get yourself something firm, even some sports tape. There are some fabric pads or fabric straps that you can use that do this remarkably well. But all we want to do is basically put a brace around the fibular head like that, and basically just see if it makes a difference. Usually within an hour or two walking around with the brace firmly around that area. So we're not trying to hold the kneecap in like we do for a patella tracking problem. This is lower down. We're trying to hold the fibular head just below the knuckle at the front of the knee. We're just going to try and hold that together. And what we want to see is, does that give you some relief? For a huge percentage of people, something as simple as this can do that. And what's really interesting and really remarkable is that this is one of the more common reasons that we also see for balance problems and vestibular dysfunction. The knees are a really critical input area for people who are having stability problems with the knees. So if we don't get that input coming up into the brain correctly, this can be a common cause of balance issues as well in people. Something really simple that has nothing to do with the human brain as such, which can create issues with what we call peripheral input or proprioceptive input into the brain. So if you think you may have peroneal nerve entrapment, there's a ton of tests that we can do in terms of muscle function, assessing it, things like that, to work out if that is the case or not. But one of the key things is put a firm strap around there. It needs to be hard. We want to really hold that fibula in place. Firm strap, go for a walk and see if it feels different. If it does, there's a good chance you may be having peroneal nerve entrapment that is driving your foot problems, your leg problems, and potentially even your knee problems. Anyway guys, if you have any questions on peroneal nerve entrapment, just post them up. Always here, happy to help. If you want some help really quickly, just post down knee below and we'll get some information out really quickly with you and get this done. If you just want to get straight into it and get some help for your knee, please just message me. Send me a message via Facebook or give me a call on our number, and I'll be in touch straight away to get you some help. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this far in. Always great knowing that we've got some fans out there who are watching us. If you have any questions, post them up. Otherwise, I shall catch you in the next vid. Bye for now.